There we go.
Yay.
Hi, good evening. I'm so pleased it worked. I'm always a little bit...
I know, it's always that touch and go. Yeah. Is this going to work? Is it not?
Is the Wi-Fi going to last?
So...
Oh my God, I'm exactly the same.
Oh, it was nice to virtually meet you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's great. Some people are starting to join up. So I guess we'll wait a few minutes.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Amazing. And it's so nice to speak to someone else, Emily, who's super into exercise in pregnancy, because I think it's a bit of a rarity amongst midwives, which seems odd.
Few and far between. So
yeah, for sure. It's really refreshing.
So, yeah, it's good to be passionate about it. And there's such a gap in the market, I think, for midwives and even doctors and any other kind of specialists who actually have the knowledge behind like what is safe to do or not safe to do. So I always keep trying to like educate all my colleagues on like what they're allowed to do or what they're allowed to recommend for pregnant and postnatal women. And I was like, "Oh, Emily, you know so much." I'm like, "Well, this is my area." So.
Yeah, this is my speciality.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where women can Google it, and there's so much information, and yet so little. Like it's one of those like a minefield, but you don't actually get anything conclusive from it.
Definitely, yeah. There's so much out there. It's hard to know what to trust and what not to trust.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the thing, a lot of people will then trust their midwives. So I know a lot of my friends who are PTs or whatever. Yeah. They say, you know, if they've got a woman who's recently pregnant and training with them, they say, "Oh, speak to your midwife." And then they come back and, you know, speak to us as midwives, and we say, "Oh, we don't really know." Like, we get very, very little education on exercise in pregnancy and everything. So I'm sure you found the same.
Yeah, definitely. So it's great that they're kind of getting some more information out there.
I know, yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
Perfect. Shall we get started?
Let's get started. So we kind of planned this, Emily and I, in that we would kind of come together with 10 top tips. We've kind of got 5 each, but we absolutely echo kind of what each other believe, which is good, I guess. We're singing from the same hymn, which is great. Now, I kind of have a little bit of a thought with exercise in pregnancy, and that is that we wouldn't ever sign up for a marathon and then kind of sit on the sofa for 9 months. And I kind of view birth and the postnatal period, because you're pushing prams, you're lifting children. So it's about, I think, getting your body strong and fit and healthy for that whole birth journey, and then also motherhood afterwards, and being active and looking after children. So that's my kind of thing. When you think of exercise, think of it as like a preparation journey in the same way that people do for like marathon training.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, one of my things as well is that you're doing the exercise anyway, whether you're, you know, pushing a pram or whilst you're pregnant, like, you know, squatting down to pick something you dropped off the floor or something like that.
Yeah.
So you're exercising anyway. So you might as well start like proactively exercising and building that muscle strength, so that if you do kind of squat down to pick something up, you're not going to put your back out or hurt something or overstretch and hurt your shoulders or whatever. So it's really, really important to get that kind of muscle strength ready for your everyday life, just functional movements, really.
Sure, yeah. The amount of times you hear people put their back out or damage like a rib when they're getting car seats out of the car, because we're not moving in the way that we should do, really. And so that's where exercise can be amazing.
Exactly, and that probably leads on quite nicely into one of my top tips. Is especially as a personal trainer, so I specialise in pre and postnatal personal training, and we do a lot of focus on the posterior chain. So if anyone doesn't know, it's basically anything behind you. So the backs of your shoulders, the middle of your back, your lower back, like the backs of your hamstrings, your calves, so everything kind of backwards. We need to work on that strength, because if you imagine you've got a pregnant tummy growing out here, all the weight is going to want to try and pull you forward. That's why it's really important to work on the strength of that shoulder and your back and everything. So then when your bump grows, then you know you're not going to put your back out, like we said. But also, like postnatally, when you're breastfeeding a baby, often we sit like this, we're hunched over or pushing a pram, you're using kind of forward motions. So it's really important to have that kind of posterior chain strength. So we do a lot of work on that. So whether you're working, you know, with a pre or postnatal PT, or whether you're just doing your own things at home or following, you know, online Zoom things, I would say try and focus a lot on your posterior chain.
And then when we think about birthing positions in labour, so commonly ladies will, and rightly so, kind of adopt those forward-leaning positions or squat positions. So again, you need that strength through your posterior chain muscles to support you.
Yeah. Definitely.
So one of my second top tip is to be realistic. So we quite often get over ambitious and think, right, I'm going to spend 2 hours doing this on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's never going to be achievable. So be realistic. Think about the time that you've got and schedule it in. And if that means that for you it's doing home workouts, fantastic, especially during lockdown. The amount of content that there now is amazing.
So, make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think make it realistic and aim for something that's achievable for you, so that you're going to be able to actually do it and enjoy it and stick to it.
Definitely. And that, again, lovely, leads on to my second top tip, is that I would really recommend, especially if you're either new to exercise or new to pregnancy and exercise together, it's really important to just kind of seek out a specialist in this area. There's loads of people online, which is fantastic. It's really, really good. We've got so many people putting out content, but just be careful who you follow. And a lot of the people who are doing these online exercise classes, they're not a specialist in pre and postnatal workouts. So whilst they might say, oh, if you're pre and postnatal, then perhaps modify this or don't do that or whatever. But it's really important to follow a pre and postnatal PT on Instagram or whoever, or even get in touch with them. They can write you an online program, or you can see them in person, just because they've got all that knowledge. That's really, really important to kind of be aware of. And even if you just spoke to them once or had one session with them, it's much better than doing the wrong thing and then getting yourself injured.
Absolutely.
There's lots of people that I could recommend, so I might put that on my Instagram later for people who want
that'd be amazing. And kind of leading on to social media is my third top tip, and that is to follow people or speak to people who have got either a like-minded ethos or are really inspirational and positive, because there's nothing worse if you're trying to make a positive, healthy change and you're surrounded by people that are kind of putting that down. It's really demotivating. So follow and speak to people that are like-minded and will inspire you. So use social media as kind of an inspiring platform.
Yeah, definitely. And I know a lot of people, there used to be a bit of a taboo about exercising in pregnancy.
Yeah, for sure.
And people saying, oh no, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to hurt your baby. That is absolutely not the case. There's no evidence to show that if you exercise safely, then you can damage yourself or your baby. So it's really, really important to kind of get some momentum on people who have also got the same vision from you, and want to help you along in your fitness journey, even though you're pregnant. My third top tip is that don't be afraid of exercise in pregnancy. Again, it's an old-fashioned, perception that when you're pregnant, you need to kind of go on bed rest and you've almost got an illness and don't carry that shopping bag, or let me get that, or you're pregnant. Obviously, there's some things that you do need to take it easy for, but actually, I always encourage all my clients, you're pregnant, great, let's still feel strong, let's still get out of breath, let's still sweat. And they come away from the sessions and they're like, oh my God, I feel amazing, because I actually feel like a strong, capable woman, whereas a lot of people have made me feel like I can't do much and, that's not safe. But actually, it's really nice to lift heavy weights and feel really strong and empowered. I would say don't be afraid to challenge yourself safely and to feel strong. This is your time. It's amazing.
I love that, because it kind of mirrors your body's doing all this amazing stuff on the inside, so why shouldn't you be celebrating that on the outside? And I think
definitely.
absolutely, and it's important for us to mention there are a few conditions in pregnancy where we potentially would recommend bed rest, but they really are few and far between. So unless you've been told otherwise by your healthcare professional, there's so much evidence to suggest that exercise in pregnancy does so much good, and nothing to say it does any harm. So we should really embrace it, I think, a bit more.
Definitely.
So number 4 for me is to mix things up so that you don't get bored. So mixing up has loads of benefits for our body and us progressing through our exercise kind of progress and journey, but also it means that you're not getting stuck in the same rut and the same routine.
Definitely.
So I'd say, bit of a mixture and embrace new things.
And that's the same for pregnancy, postnatal, any of us. I know if I do the same thing too much, I get bored. And remember, it's going to be different for everyone. Someone might love swimming, someone might like running or walking or doing weights or whatever. So it's different for everyone. So don't compare yourself to people. Mix it up and just choose what kind of works for you. It's really important.
Yeah, definitely.
So my 4th top tip is you have to be careful in pregnancy not to overstretch, because all your pregnancy hormones are going absolute crazy in your body. everything is quite loose because obviously it needs to make space for this growing baby and make space in your pelvis for the baby to be born. So often all your kind of your ligaments and everything, the joining of bones and muscles are quite loose.
Yeah.
So that makes basically you feel like you're really stretchy. So if you're already quite a stretchy person, great, but just be very careful because you might think, oh, I can suddenly do the splits, or wow, I can suddenly reach my toes, which, you know, is fine, but we just have to be mindful that actually that isn't your kind of your natural muscle length. That's your natural muscle length plus a bit more because of the pregnancy hormones, and we just don't want you to overstretch and then actually end up kind of hurting yourself or straining your muscles. And then if you imagine you're already stretching that stretchy elastic band and you're going to stretch it even more, then we just don't want anything to kind of, any damage to be done. Yeah. And then again, your kind of recovery after, if you've kind of stretched everything loads, then it might take a little bit more time to kind of come back to a normal state.
And there's nothing more frustrating than an injury. No one wants that.
I'm sure we can all speak for that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think for women in pregnancy, generally, they tend to know when they're kind of overdoing it a little bit. And so I just encourage women to listen to their body, because it is really great at telling you kind of, actually, that doesn't feel quite right. Fine, let's adapt it. Or that's a little bit too much. Let's kind of bring it back in a little bit.
It should always feel good. You know, whatever feels good for you is different from someone else. Yeah. And what might feel good one day is different to what feels the next day or this trimester or whatever. So just do what you can and what feels right. Yeah. If you listen to your body, it truly will tell you.
Yeah, everyone's unique, aren't they? And that's what makes us great. So my last fifth one is to make sure that you supplement your exercise routine with good nutrition, because if you're underfueled, undernourished, you will just not have the kind of get up and go or the motivation. It will leave you kind of feeling a little bit flat on energy. So making sure if you are exercising that you are supplementing that with good diet, and being aware that if you're burning kind of in excess calories, then you need to be refueling your body because you're supporting you and your growing baby.
Yeah. Refueling the right way.
Yes.
And also hydration. Hydration is really, really important in pregnancy. You might notice that you sweat more, your heart rate might elevate more, your blood pressure might kind of go up and down. So it's really important to hydrate anyway when you exercise, especially in pregnancy, and then exercise in pregnancy. So really be important too, because we don't want you to kind of get dehydrated or feel unwell at all.
Yeah, sure.
So the final one for me, I mean, I've got so many.
I know, we could go on for hours.
It's down to 5 each. So my final top tip is don't ignore your core. A lot of people, when they're pregnant, they kind of get a bit nervous of doing core exercises, which is understandable. Yeah. That's where your baby's kind of growing, and you don't want to squish it or damage it. We say to avoid doing any kind of crunches or sit-ups or anything in pregnancy. It's just not needed. That kind of strength is not needed. However, we can do things like a plank or a modified plank, or even just other kind of breathing exercises to kind of help engage our core muscles, because we're using our core the whole time, whether we're leaning down to get something. Our core is not just those kind of like six-pack muscles at the front. The core is all around. It's at the front, it's the top bit, the bottom bit, the bit around the side. It also kind of supports around to your back. So if you're not working your core muscles and keeping them engaged and strong and powerful, then you're then going to end up getting kind of like aches in your hips, aches in your kind of your back, even going down into your legs, you know, even your shoulders, just from not having that core switched on. Yeah. So that's why I'd say core is very, very important. But again, I would check out a specialist in like safe core exercises to do in pregnancy. Don't just follow, you know, your bog standard person, however great they might be. This is one area which I would definitely say core exercises, get some specialist advice.
Definitely for core. I've seen some quite useful stuff around where women imagine that their bump is effectively a balloon. So any core stuff you're doing, you're imagining that you wouldn't want to pop a balloon if a balloon was there. Exactly. And that's quite nice just to keep in your mind. But I think people forget, you think of core as like classic six-pack abs. You were never going to get that in pregnancy. So doing loads and loads of crunches is completely counterproductive and pointless and really unhelpful. But people forget that actually your core is supporting your hips, your back, and the rest of your body. Without it, we wouldn't even be able to stand up. So it's doing it, but in those deep kind of functional core muscles rather than the kind of athletic ones.
Giving your bump a hug.
Yeah.
So when you engage your core muscles, because your core kind of comes round the baby like that, it's like giving your baby a hug, and you engage them and then you relax them. I've got a really good video on this, so I'll post this on my Instagram as well for us to share.
Amazing. Emily, I'm super impressed that we've actually managed to keep this video short. As midwives who love to chat, I'm amazed.
We do indeed.
I love it.
No, it was great to speak to you, and it's good to keep these kind of lives quite punchy.
For sure.
So and if anyone else has got any other top tips, then feel free to comment on this. Because we'd love to hear what you guys think.
And spread the exercise in pregnancy movement. I love it.
Exactly, definitely. Yes, keep exercising, keep strong.
Thanks everyone for tuning in, and check out Emily and I's Instagram pages for more sort of exercise and pregnancy info, which we have plenty of between us.
Yes, perfect. Great to speak to you.
And you take care.
Bye.
Bye.